ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pack Daddy NFL, and this is round 4 of Mock Draft 11. This mock draft, for those that continually refuse to listen, was done by the Facebook group, not by me. Didn't make these picks. That'll be the next mock draft. Will be my mock draft. This was done by the Facebook group. If you want to get involved in something like that, where you get to be a GM of a football team, you get to make your own picks and all that stuff, join the Facebook group. The link is in the description. A lot of other stuff in the description, so be sure to check it out. The one thing I would definitely want to bring your attention to is the new website, NFLBigBoard.com. Tons of resources. I don't know why you would want to do a mock draft without it. It is the ultimate big board. It is an aggregator for all the top DPD, whatever you want to call them, big boards, right? That would make sense. Also, a lot of other stuff on there, so you can check individual teams, their needs, their draft picks, rumors and news about that team. So when that team is up, you can do this, that, or the other thing. Prospect visits, who have they been talking to, all that kind of stuff. And then if you want to look into a player, maybe I'll check this one. You can click on that player, assuming I'm still working on it. There's a lot of players I haven't done yet, but you can click on that player, see some news and notes, see what people are saying about that player, find out all kinds of stuff. So it is the ultimate resource when you're trying to do a mock draft. Be sure to check that out. Otherwise, let's get started. With the 97th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Andrew and the Browns select Terrell Edmunds, safety, Virginia Tech. That's Terrell, not Tremaine, just so there's not any confusion or banging your head into walls or anything like that. For me, it's a little bit of a reach. I got him at about a 5th round, so we're about 1 round too early, but I have seen him when I check some of the in-depth data that I have, as high as number 69 overall, which would make him about a early third round prospect. In terms of need, they got Jair Alexander at cornerback. He's probably going to be more of a slot guy. I don't know if safety is a huge need for the Browns. So just overall, it's they need defensive back help. Okay, fine. Terrell isn't, I don't know. I'm thinking there's probably better corners and safeties available, so it's not my favorite pick. But they're taking a bunch of swings at positions that they do need. They got some great players. They got the best player in this entire draft. Maybe at this point we just start hammering DB and see if we can really get this thing going. Because you got a great run D, you got a great running back, you've got your quarterback, you've got pretty much everything you can need. Let's just take swings at defensive back. And if you like Terrell, which he obviously does, we'll roll with that. But giving my opinion, that's not my pick. With the 98th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Mitch and the Giants select Jawan Bentley, linebacker, Purdue. So I'll say this. I'll give Mitch some credit for even knowing who Jawan Bentley is to even pull the trigger on him. It's hard to even find him anywhere online. I don't know if he's a big Purdue fan, maybe. But he is on the old big board, the ultimate big board, but I have him at about 370, meaning he is very undrafted, possibly unsigned. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going for here. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, because I don't know, but I definitely think the Giants could use some linebacker help, but I don't think Jawan Bentley is going to be the guy that you want to help you. Maybe when the draft's over, if you really like him, you pick up the phone and you go, I think this guy's got some unique skills. Let's see if we can get him to come over here as an undrafted guy. That's the best I could think that you would want to do with Jawan Bentley. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe he'll end up getting drafted. Maybe he'll be a 4th round or a 3rd round or a 1st round pick, or some kind of magical thing will happen. Not a big fan of the pick, though. With the 99th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Texans select Micah Kiser, linebacker, Virginia. So it's actually pretty fitting considering the news about Brian Cushing. That actually happened after the fact when they did this draft. So props to the group for getting this one done. I think it is a need. They do have Benardrick McKinney and some decent linebackers going over there, some younger guys. But, I think depth could be added to, and also talent. I mean, I don't think anybody there is elite. I don't think anybody there can't be upgraded. I think they're serviceable. I think they're decent enough. But bringing in some competition to inside linebacker isn't the worst thing. With that said, however, and I don't think that it's impossible Micah Kiser goes here or even earlier. There was a time when he was like a late 1st, early 2nd guy, and for some reason he just continues to fall. However, according to the all-knowing big board, he is a early fifth round prospect. So he's, and also my maths wasn't too good when I said Terrell Edmonds was an early fifth. I actually meant he's an early sixth. So that was a bigger reach than I had thought. Micah Kaiser is about a round too early, I think. So far, round three I loved. Round four we're getting off to a rough patch here. So I'm hoping we can kind of pick this up and get some. And as we get later, it's going to get harder because nobody really knows these things, right? First round, everybody knows the names, right? If you say somebody goes four instead of five, you're an idiot because we know down to a T what it is. Once you get to fourth, fifth, sixth, things just kind of get a little more murky. But got to stick to the big board. I'm still looking for good, solid picks. There's some steals out there. Come on, man, give me something. With the 100th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Justin and the Colts select DJ Chark, wide receiver, LSU. So I actually have him ranked number 100 overall, so it's not a steal, but it is a very good pick. It's a good value. I like the Colts picks. I was just going back and looking at them. They got Chubb, which is awesome, right? Nobody's going to be upset about that pick, I wouldn't think. They got Ronnie Harrison in the second round. Decent pick, right? Great player. And then in the third round, they got Ronald Jones, which I think is a steal. It was a great pick. And now they get DJ Chark, who I think is a good value here. Wide receiver, I think, is pretty valuable for the Colts as well. I would say the one big disappointment is the Colts need some offensive line help, and they've got zero at this point. You would have to assume that with this kind of a draft, we're going heavy in the offseason for offensive linemen. There's some good ones out there, right? Well, I'm not going to try to name names because I can picture them, but I'm blanking, so I'll just move on. But in terms of wide receiver, I think you still got Ty, but Moncrief and Aiken I think are both free agents. Whether or not you bring them back, if we are assuming we're going heavy in the off season for offensive linemen, maybe we offload some of these guys. Um, their play wasn't great, but I think a lot of that falls on the quarterback. But DJ Chark at wide receiver, I think, would be a welcome addition to the Colts. I like all their picks so far. Again, not happy they haven't gone offensive line, but in terms of the talent that's available, taking a good player at your pick, not reaching, grabbing good value, I like these picks. With the 101st pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Clark and the Bears select Brandon Parker, tackle, NC AT&T. So I can't say I hate going tackle necessarily. I think one thing that bothers me about the Bears is everyone says, well, they got a decent offensive line. They shouldn't worry about that. They should worry about other stuff. I don't like that. I think offensive line is well, I talk about it every single video. You should know my opinion on offensive line and how important it is. But they have an offensive line that's pretty old, and I think you need to have depth at offensive line. I mean, you need to have somebody ready to go to take the reins. You need to have somebody there in case of injury. It's an incredibly high injury position, right? You got 300-pound guys going up against 300-pound guys, and it's just pushing, and you got somebody hitting you from the front, somebody running into you from behind, you got ankles and everything else. These guys are hurt all the time, and I think the quickest way for a team to fall apart is for their offensive line to fall apart. Just that's Dallas Cowboys. I think they had a great offensive line, and they were just on their way to the Super Bowl. They let a few pieces walk, and now it's just, sorry, guess you're done. Seattle, they had a great team. Their offensive line fell apart. They can't fix it. They let it deteriorate, and now they're in trouble. The Packers. Nobody talks about that. Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Yeah, that offensive line, he was getting sacked 4 times a game. They're in a lot of trouble if they don't get an offensive line in there that doesn't suck. So anyways, all that to say, I like the idea of making sure that we have a solid offensive line. However, once again, we're reaching a little bit. I got Brandon Park. I don't remember what the number was, but it was maybe a fourth roundish, or I'm sorry, a fifth round guy. The best, there were 4 websites I could find that had grades on them. 2 had him rated about 100, which would make him a decent value. So maybe if you're using one of those exclusively, like you just pick that one draft board and that's going to be your big board, then it's a decent value. But there's 2 other sites that have him sitting at about 200. So again, average it out. It's a little bit of a reach, and I think there's better value. It's kind of a wait and see, just like all these guys are, right? There's going to be nobody has all of the qualities, so you're picking and choosing. You're saying these are his qualities, these are his deficits. We're going to bet on his high points and hope that we can coach out or mitigate the low points. So a lot of this is personal preference, but again, for me, It's just not my pick, man. I'm still waiting for that home runner. Home runner. I watch baseball a lot. That's what they say in the baseball. Got another home runner. With the 102nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Chris and the Broncos select Trey Williams, linebacker, Auburn. Um, yeah, I don't know where you guys are even getting this stuff from. Again, I don't know. Maybe Chris is an Auburn fan. Maybe he's just really into this. I got to give people props because I don't really. He is on the big board, but I mean, man, oh man, let's take a look again because I don't even remember. 475 is where I have him listed. I only have one site that actually even listed him on their big board at all. So unless you're using some obscure big board, I have to assume you have your own. So if that's the case, I got to give you props because that's pretty awesome. Um, don't know why you made the pick. You got your quarterback, you got him a wide receiver, and then you don't pick again until the third, and you reach really far on a linebacker. I think offensive line is far more important. I think there's way better value. I thought the first two picks were pretty solid, but yeah, I just there's nothing that I care for about this. Again, obviously he likes the guy, but I just don't. I think he's going to be another undrafted guy. So that's what, like three undrafted guys and a couple fifth rounders and sixth rounders so far. One decent value. Come on, guys. With the 103rd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Drayton and the Jets select Alan Lazard, wide receiver, Iowa State. So I was able to extract a couple comments from some of the guys because I felt like I was kind of beating up on them and it wasn't really fair. They didn't have a chance to defend themselves. Not really my fault. I always ask for comments. But I had a few comments. No, that's not true. That's not the way this works. I said, well, then tell me why you made the picks, man. I'm here. So I got a couple, and this is one of them. Drayton was able to reach out. He said that not only does Lazard fill a position of need with the question of Robbie Anderson, but he's a big body red zone threat. So he's the type of wide receiver we're looking for. So in terms of the big board, it is a little bit of a reach. I would say early fifth, maybe late fourth. But if we're looking at it from, and that's the aggregate. There are some that say he's like fifth, sixth, but there's also two websites I saw that said he was a third round prospect. So it's a preference thing. He fits a need, and also remember I mentioned most teams allegedly use the tiered approach, which is to say there's a pile of people in this tier of talent, a pile of people in this tier. So it's not just take the top person at the board linearly. There's a tier with a pile. So if Alan Lazard is in this pile of guys that are this talented, you take the best player that fits a need or fits whatever it is you're looking for. So we'll just assume Alan Lazard is one of the top guys on Drayton's board, and he fits the biggest need, so they took Alan Lazard. That's my defense of Drayton. Again, really hoping somebody hits one out of the park here pretty soon that I just love. I don't hate Alan Lazard. I think it's a decent pick, and I do think fourth round is reasonable for him. But I don't know, just not feeling that. It's not. I'm not crabby today. I feel like I'm in a good mood. It's just these aren't my favorite picks. With the 104th pick, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but there is our first trade of the evening. The New York Giants are going to trade away Jason Pierre-Paul to the Buccaneers to move into slot 104, as well as get 186. So the Buccaneers don't get any picks. The Giants do get 104 and 186 for Jason Pierre-Paul. And the Giants are going to move up, and they are going to select Austin Ginther, linebacker, Marion. So I want to give Mitch a round of applause. Mitch is the GM for the Giants for being the first person to select a player that is not on the all-knowing big board, because that's a feat in and of itself. I have 585 people on this list here. 0 of them are named Austin Ginther. I had to Google him, still couldn't find him. He doesn't exist. I finally found all MSFA honors mobile site for Marion University. There's something about Austin Ginther on here, but nothing about him going to the draft, nothing on NFL.com, nothing on anything.com ever. So I don't know if you guys are messing with me at this point, but you just traded away the one-handed phenom to move up in the fourth round and draft a guy that is not even going to be undrafted. This guy is going to be working at Walmart in about 6 months. So A little confused by what's happening right now, but really hope it gets better because I don't. I had yesterday off, which means today is not only Tuesday, which is the worst day of the week, but it's also my Monday. So it's simultaneously Monday and Tuesday. I have to go to work today with that on my mind. I don't want to start the day off this way, guys. We got to do better than this because you're killing me. With the 105th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Ryan and the Raiders select Mike Gesicki, tight end, Penn State. See how easy that was? I'm not even going to tell you if that's a need or not. It doesn't matter if it's a need or not. I'm not even going to look into whether it's a need or not. Mike Gesicki. I got him ranked like 90th or 80 something on the big board here. Let me read you a couple notes because I do have a profile about him. Here's what Mike Mayock had to say. He described Gesicki as a matchup nightmare and said he's very similar to Zach Ertz. I know they're throwing that around a lot, but that's pretty impressive. 6'6", 255. Here's what Tony Pauline had to say. He said he was the #1 draft riser of all tight ends after the Senior Bowl. Here's his quote. Wow, wow, wow. The gigantic tight end looked natural catching the ball, had wide receiver traits when the pass was thrown in his direction. He was athletic and fluid, yet overpowering and dominant all at the same time. Gesicki used his incredible leaping ability to get vertical over opponents and made some incredible catches in contorted positions in which he resembled a gymnast. I don't think he's going to run very fast at the combine, but he doesn't have to. Team will snatch him up in the second round and make him its primary third down and red zone target. So this is why partly I get so upset, even on decent value picks, because there's so much incredible value out there. So you got all these people making trades, and I'm going to give you this player for this guy that isn't even going to get drafted, and I'm going to do all this crazy stuff. And Ryan with the Raiders comes up and he just raises his hand. He's like, Mike Gesicki, maybe? I hope there was a collective groan when that pick was made because we're trying too hard a little bit, I think. Mike Gesicki is just sitting there. He should have been gone in the second round. He should have been gone in the third round, and he should have been gone already at this point, but everybody's trying to get too creative. It's also why it's important, if you're going to do a full 7 round, you better have a big board and you better have it updated, because I feel like some of these guys are slipping through the cracks that absolutely shouldn't. But a great pick by Ryan there, an unbelievable steal with Mike Gesicki, getting a second or third round type guy, 6'6" red zone monster for the Raiders and for Derek Carr in that offense. With the 106th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Chris and the Broncos back on the clock select Armani Watts, safety, Texas A&M. So it's a good value. I got him at 105. This is 106, so it's exactly where he should be going. Still a little hung up on the fact that we don't have any offensive line help, but I think it's a decent value. I think it is somewhat of a need for the Broncos as well. And I don't have the time to do all the work I'm doing to get through this draft and also go through my own big board and say maybe these people should be gone by now. So I can't give you any names, nor do I want to, because they'll get picked eventually, and then I'll be all excited about it or whatever. But it's just another. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's just a good pick, just good across the board, solid. Nothing wrong with it necessarily. With the 107th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins are going to trade away their pick with the Jets. Drayton and the Jets are going to give away a 2019 third and sixth for this pick. Miami obviously making a very good move here because anytime somebody wants to give you a third for a fourth, I mean, I would trade away an entire draft for that kind of value. But the Jets are going to move up, Drayton and the Jets, and they are going to select Jerome Baker, linebacker, Ohio State. Drayton once again gave me his notes, and he said I traded up for Jerome Baker because linebacker's in need, and I felt he should have been gone in the third round. I don't agree with giving up a third and a sixth for a fourth. However, I absolutely agree with his assessment. Jerome Baker is a third round candidate. He should have been gone. And this is the kind of trade up that I like. I don't like trading up because there's a guy that fits a need, or I just feel like trading up and I'm just going to get some random guy that I like. If he's going to be available when you're drafting, don't trade up and get him. However, if there's a guy that's a second or third round or whatever guy, and he's going to fit a need on your team, and you really like him, and he should have been gone, and I'm not going to risk losing him because I'm going to sit back here and hope that no, that's a good time to go ahead and trade up. So I think he probably could have maybe given up a little less value. I mean, maybe just give him like a 2019 fourth, maybe sweeten it with a sixth or something. I don't know. But either way, Jerome Baker, phenomenal value, and again, this is the kind of trade that I like. All these other trades are just kind of, I guess, whatever. But if you're going to trade up, it needs to be a guy that on your list he should have been gone, and we need him, and that's it. And Jerome Baker to me fits that mold. I think it's the second time in this draft that's happened, and it gets me excited every time. Good move by Drayton, good move by Miami, good moves all around. With the 108th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Damian and the Bengals select Austin Corbett, tackle, Nevada. So, according to the all-knowing big board, it's a slight reach, but you gotta like the Bengals taking swings at linemen. It's a little iffy the picks that they made. Brian O'Neill, I think, was a big reach, so that's going to be a huge question mark about whether that was a good value in the second round. Going to be a lot of eyes on him, I think. When that time comes, because of how high he was drafted, there's going to be a lot of expectations, and I think Austin Corbett may be a better offensive lineman. But as far as Austin Corbett, here's what Tony Pauline had to say, a couple weeks ago or whatever about him. He said Corbett, thanks to the Senior Bowl, I believe this is referencing, was able to push himself into the day two conversation, and also said that the Seahawks potentially could be a landing spot because they seem to like him. Just a little tidbit from NFLBigBoard.com, but day two would be rounds 2 and 3. So if you push yourself into day two, that means we're talking maybe end of the third or early fourth is kind of where he's hovering, and he pushed himself up into that. So I think we're saying essentially that he is a pretty decent value here. Maybe where he is now is kind of where he used to be, or kind of his value, but because of a good Senior Bowl, we might be talking early fourth, late third. So with that said, I do think they need to take swings at offensive line. I think they are taking swings. And as far as Austin Corbett, I don't know what other offensive linemen are available, but I don't hate the pick. I tend to like it. So I'm good with this pick. With the 109th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Peter and the Redskins select DJ Moore, wide receiver, Maryland. This one gave me chills, man. I'm not even kidding. I'm a draft freak, man. I can't help it. This is what I do. This is my Super Bowl coming up. I'm not even lying to you. DJ Moore, I got him on the all-knowing big board sitting at 79. See, every time there's a reach for a pick or a bad pick, you end up with one more guy that should be gone that isn't. And when you get a bunch of them in conjunction, you're going to end up with a pick like this. I do have a profile for him, so let me read a little note for you. This here is from Joe Marino. He singled out Moore as a guy with crisp route running, ball skills, and electric skills after the catch. He went on to say he's not quite a first-round pick, but he's certainly a top 50 player. Now that's saying a lot. So whether he's a top 50 player or, according to the all-knowing big board, sitting at 79, this guy should have been gone a long time ago. So they got Deron Payne, and then let's see, what do they get in the second round? Sony Michel, and now they get DJ Moore. So they've only had 3 picks, I believe. And I would say that they have more value on their team than some of these teams with 4 and 5 picks. So there's something to be said for just being this is the best player available model, right? You draft for need, you end up getting 5 picks of guys that none of them can even play. If you just stay where you're at and get guys that are amazing value, you end up like Peter and the Redskins here with only 3 picks, but you're not even mad because your team is so much better. Deron Payne, Sony Michel, and who did they just pick? DJ Moore. That's incredible. They got like 3 first-ish, second-ish round guys. Just they're all like right in that range, right? Right in that like 50-ish range. Deron, obviously, some people think he's top 10, but he's sliding a little. It doesn't matter. Bottom line, these are 3 great picks, and I'm just excited about it. With the 110th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers are going to trade back with the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are going to move up to 110. They're giving up pick 185 and DeMarco Murray, because that's how we roll in these mock drafts. We give up players. The Packers have been involved in quite a few trades, trading up, so it's nice to see them recoup a little value here. Unfortunately, they don't really get any picks. They just swap a pick. But they also pick up DeMarco Murray. From the Packers' standpoint, I don't hate it. I actually think it kind of makes a little sense to bring in a veteran. They've got a lot of young guys. I think Ty Montgomery's going back to slot, so they're going to have basically 3 second-year players none of which had a ton of time because there was so much rotation. It was just so much flux. They never really had time to just say, you're the guy, you're going to be the back. And there was so much switching around with offensive line and all this other stuff. Anyways, I don't want to spend all day talking Packers, but it makes sense. I don't know. Again, I'm not a huge fan of these player trades, but the Titans are going to move up. So with the 110th pick, Dylan and the Titans select Darius Leonard, linebacker, SC State. So another pick I really like, another guy that's valued as a third-round player. I have him ranked 82nd overall, a great value. Again, if you're going to trade up, these are the kinds of trades I like. You got a third-round guy like Darius Leonard that's sitting there that you think is going to be a great fit for your team that you really like. This is when you trade and make it happen. So let me read you a note from Tony Pauline. This is in regard to the Senior Bowl. He said, this one is open to interpretation as it all depends on the type of linebacker you want. Pass rusher or space defender. Leonard grew on me during the week as he showed continual progress and was terrific in coverage. Unlike most college linebackers who face guard most of the time, Leonard displayed defensive back level ball skills. He easily ran with opposing tight ends or running backs both laterally and downfield, tracked the ball in the air, and made good, clean pass breakups. So this is the kind of guy who has elite level skills in one area but maybe is deficient in another. So he's the kind of guy that a team is going to fall in love with. He's absolutely the kind of guy you can imagine a team trading up for, because it depends, scheme fit and all that kind of stuff. He could be the perfect linebacker for what somebody's looking for, depending on, again, what you're trying to do with your defense. So is he a great fit for the Titans? I'm not even going to try to touch that. I'm not a Titans fan. I don't study the Titans. I'll leave that up for the Titans fan to decide. What I just described, does that fit your team very well? I don't know. But I like the pick. I think the value is phenomenal. And do I like the trade? No, I don't like player trades in general. From the Packers standpoint, I guess whatever. I'll take DeMarco Murray. I think he's a good running back, good veteran presence. But value for the pick, I like it a lot. With the 111th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Clark and the Bears back on the clock select Anthony Averett, cornerback, Alabama. The value's decent. I got him at 119, so I think that's a perfectly reasonable time for him to go as mid-fourth. Bears taking corner, I think, makes a lot of sense. They've got Amukamura as well as, what's his name, the young guy that sucked for a long time that's starting to become good, Fuller. He's a free agent. I'm assuming Fuller's going to be back. I wouldn't be surprised if Amukamura hits is out after this year. But either way, bringing in another corner is going to be beneficial for this team. In terms of fit and all that, I don't know. Not really going to go down that road. But overall, I think it's a solid pick. I think it makes sense. With the 112th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Brian and the Cowboys select Kyle Lauletta, quarterback, Richmond. So I don't like anything about it. I have him ranked in the 300s. I think quarterbacks in general, I'm not going to like very many of these picks. I think some of these quarterbacks, because they're quarterbacks, get a lot of hype. But I don't think they're very good. I don't think there's a lot of talent there. I think beyond the big ones, a lot of these guys are maybe at best there's like 1/4, a 6th, and a bunch of undrafted guys in terms of the big board, in terms of the value that I'm seeing. But the Cowboys, I mean, I could almost try to defend it if it was a quarterback needy team. You could just say maybe they love this skill set. They think that they could develop him over time. Yeah, I mean, even a team that's maybe 3 years out, 2 years out from needing a new quarterback, but you got a brand spanking new guy. I mean, if you're looking for depth, why Kyle Lauletta? Wait until the 7th round or get an undrafted guy like Kyle Lauletta. Then if you really want to just develop a guy. Otherwise, just get one in free agency. Go get a Sanchez or get one of these bums out here that just can hopefully, hey, it worked out for Foles, and some of these guys are floating around. Foles was supposedly no good until he got picked up. I don't know. I just don't like the pick. All right, and I'm assuming Cowboys fans are going to have my back on this. I would be shocked if the Cowboys fans are in an uproar because they think Lauletta is a need and absolutely should go to the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't know where this is coming from or why we would get him. Other than we just think Kyle Lauletta is a 2nd-round pick and we're taking value, but I would venture a guess to say that you're incorrect in that. So, moving on. With the 113th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Mitch and the Lions select Will Clapp, guard, LSU. So, I got to laugh a little bit because it's pretty clear Mitch feels like the Lions' only need is a run game. They got Quentin Nelson round one. They got Kerryon Johnson round two, and then their next pick is Will Clapp guard in round four. So we got two guards and a running back. Nobody will ever pick on the Lions ever again for not having a running game because if this doesn't solve it, I don't know where we're going from here. Hopefully that is their only need though because they have not addressed defense, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, any of that stuff. But the running game has officially been solved. At least I hope we're done with. I don't know what I get tackles. I guess that they could help in the run game. In terms of value, Will Clapp is kind of a 50-50 guy. I mean, literally half of the websites that I have on my aggregator. Overall, the aggregator says it's a little bit of a reach. We're about a round too early. But I've got about half of these sites saying that he is actually a huge steal at this point. So he's going to be one of those guys that's probably going to be gone early because if there's that much volatility in it, all it takes is one team that really likes him. They're not going to let him fall this far. So based on that, I don't know. I'm torn. I think it's a reach, but I also think that he will be gone by this point. So that's what it is. Lions fans, let me know what you think. With the 114th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Michael and the Ravens select Kalen Ballage, however you say his name, running back, Arizona State. So he is a guy that I expect to go early because everybody's going nuts. He is the Samaje Perine of this draft. He's like that fifth, sixth round guy that everybody loves, that everybody wants on their team. No, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. I was even on that hype train. Oh, Packers are gonna get him. He's gonna be great. He's gonna be this, that, or the other. And then the Redskins end up getting the guy, and he's just he sucks. I think the Redskins got him, right? I'm not really sure, but I know he sucks. That's exactly how I see Ballage, whatever, going here. Um, he's impressed a lot of people, but you got to understand he came from a point of nobody really liking him very much. So the fact that he's impressing means he's moving from like sixth, seventh round to fifth, sixth round, somewhere in there. I don't really know, but I think the Ravens have made some decent moves so far. Let me just read you really quick a note here about that because he did impress at the Senior Bowl. Here's what Tony Pauline had to say about him. We've been down on Ballage, even saying he looks like Tarzan and plays like Jane. After a pedestrian performance this season, Ballage's play this week in Mobile finally matched his physical prowess as a 6'2", 222-pound runner showed explosive athleticism and smooth receiving skills in addition to holding up and pass protection. Running backs tend not to stand out with the lack of contact at Senior Bowl practices, and while that actually may have helped Ballage, who ran smaller than his listed size at times during the Sun Devils' career, he also impressed during Saturday's game with 10 carries for 57 yards. Scouts have long been intrigued by his size and athleticism, and that intrigue will remain throughout the rest of the postseason process. So it's probably similar to Will Clapp. I think his talent probably warrants like a fifth, sixth round, but the intrigue with his size and athleticism and whatever else, like a lot of players, are going to force someone to take him earlier than they should. So this is probably a relatively realistic scenario. I would assume he's maybe worth mid to late fifth, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the fourth. Overall, not my favorite pick, though. With the 115th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Ryan and the Chargers select Derek Nadi, defensive tackle, Florida State. So I didn't like their last two picks. I thought that they reached a little bit. Excuse me as I adjust the old microphone. But this, I believe, is probably going to be the steal of the draft. Derek Nadi, I believe I have ranked 54th overall. Basically a top 50 guy. Should have been an early second round guy. We are now mid fourth round, and he was sitting here for the Chargers. And the Chargers do need a defensive tackle. So outside of Connor Williams, I wasn't a huge fan, but this is crazy that he went this far. In terms of, there's a lot of different opinions on him. The worst grade I have on him anywhere is 80th. The highest I have is 41st. There's no reason I know he's not everybody's favorite, and I know if somebody puts him first round, people flip out and go, he is nowhere near that good, and I agree. But he should be gone in the second round. Even if it's late second, no way he should have gotten out of the second. No way he should have got through the third. Here he is sitting in the fourth. I'm going to call it right now as the steal of the draft. So Chargers just absolutely knocked this one out of the park. We can maybe, I don't know, overall value for the team is nowhere near as bad anymore. I'm not as upset about the Riley Ferguson third round draft pick anymore. With the 116th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select John Kelly, running back, Tennessee. Um, this is only the second pick for the Seahawks in this draft. I'm not exactly sure why. I didn't bother to check it. I don't know if there were trades or what exactly is going on here. But in the first round, they got Mike McGlinchey at the end of the first. I thought that was an unbelievable steal. Maybe the best pick in the first round. Incredible. Um, I don't like this pick very much. I acknowledge the run game is not where it needs to be, and you need some help, but I think this is a massive reach. I have John Kelly at 243. Beyond that, I know Seahawks fans hate me for this, and they say that I'm absolutely wrong. I don't hate your running backs. I don't. Eddie Lacy did okay with the Packers. Some of your other running backs that are sitting on your team have shown potential, but your offensive line is complete garbage, and you know it. I would prefer to fix the offensive line and just see what happens. Maybe they'll be able to run behind a better offensive line. Maybe not. But either way, when you've only got two picks, you get Mike McGlinchey. Don't reach on a running back here. It's not. I don't think it's your next biggest need. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, John Kelly should not have been the pick, in my opinion. And for the record, 103 is the highest I have him, which would make him a decent value here. At best, he's an okay value. Somebody agrees with you, but for the most part, overwhelmingly, not a whole lot of agreement on John Kelly going this early. With the 117th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Bryson and the Bills select Deshaun Hand, defensive tackle, Alabama. I don't know what it is about defensive tackles that people seem to just not like very much. Even in the first round, I kept saying this. You got guys like Daron Payne. You had, who else was there? Well, I know the Clemson guys when they were there. Christian Wilkins, I know he went back, but those guys were getting no love in the first round. Now our biggest steal is Derek Nadi, defensive tackle, getting no love. And now Deshaun Hand, I would say at worst, is like a mid-third round guy. I mean, he's a third round prospect, possibly late second, I'm not really sure, but man, getting him like mid to late fourth is a little crazy. I don't know what it is about these defensive tackles that they're just getting no love in this draft. But I think they're all falling way too far. I think the Bills got themselves a pretty good steal. Not quite as good as Derek Nadi. I was getting nervous when I saw Deshaun Hand. I was like, oh man, that's a pretty good pick right there. But no, I like the pick. Obviously, that's another thing where fit doesn't even matter. He is on a tier all by himself. You just got to take him. With the 118th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Aaron and the Chiefs select Tyquan Lewis, edge rusher, Ohio State. So according to the big board, it is a little bit of a reach. Not too much to hate on it all that much. The only reason I would is that the Chiefs had this is their second pick, and their last pick was a massive reach. So I don't even know if their third round pick is going to produce. They didn't have a second round pick because they traded that away and got Jordy Nelson. So to this point, depending on your opinion of Tyquan Lewis, Jordy Nelson is the only real upgrade they've got in this draft. There is a lot of love for Tyquan. I'm looking at his stats here. What do we got? So there's some sites that really hate him, say he's no good. But at best, there is one site that has him ranked 41st overall, which would make him an early second round pick. I've also got him at 92, 96, and 53. So 4 sites that would see him as a really good value here. So for that reason, I don't hate it. Is he the best available? I'm not really sure. But a much better pick than their last pick. I'll just leave it at that. With the 119th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Chris and the Panthers select Josh Sweat, edge rusher, Florida State. So I think that's a bet. See, I shouldn't say that. Tyquan Lewis is probably a better fit for the Chiefs. Josh Sweat is probably a better fit for the Panthers, so I shouldn't get too crazy. But I think Josh Sweat is a better value. Got him ranked at about 111, so this is right about where he should be going. I could see it as a need for the Panthers in terms of, Julius Peppers is probably on the way out, and if he's not, he's 400 years old. So we need to stay young, keep bringing in competition, especially at a premium position like edge rusher. I like the pick. With the 120th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, David and the Rams select Jesse Bates, safety, Wake Forest. Let me just read you a note real quick. I have this. This is another Tony Pauline note. he says that he has a fifth round grade on Bates. However, he believes that he could go as early as third because there are a few teams that seem to like him. I guess the Seahawks and Packers are two teams he mentioned specifically that are taking a closer look at him. So it is likely that he's gone by this point, but I still have to say I don't necessarily like the pick. First of all, I think saying that there are some teams that like him more than others is probably true for just about everybody, right? He has a 6 round grade, but there's at least one or two or three other teams that really like him more than they should and might take him earlier than they should. That again, that's true for most teams. Um, so I have to look at Jesse Bates and say he's more of a 5th round guy, and also the Rams are pretty solid at safety. So value and need, I don't see either of those making sense here with Jesse Bates. So I don't know, not my favorite. With the 121st pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Dylan and the Titans select Shaquem Griffin, linebacker, UCF. I was a little surprised because when I saw Shaquem Griffin, I thought, ooh, there's a steal. I currently have him ranked 355th. There really is not a ton of love for Shaquem Griffin. My Excel sheet is all locked up. I don't know what's going on, so I can't look at it. But I did look at it before, and it was 159th was the best, the highest rank anybody had him at. So with that, it's still even a little bit of a reach, but I don't know. It's what it is, I guess. It's not my favorite. With the 122nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Brian and the Cowboys, who are back on the clock thanks to a trade that took place in the last round, select Jordan Whitehead, safety, Pittsburgh. So, again, a little bit of a reach. It's early 5th is where I have him, 150s. Um, I guess I don't hate it because it's close enough to where you could say maybe he's a good value, maybe he could go here. But again, the reason I don't like all these reaches is because I know that means there's still probably 3rd round talent sitting out there somewhere. I know if I decided to sit down and go through and cross off everybody off the list, there's a ton of really solid talent, maybe even some 2nd round guys still sitting out there. I'm not really sure. But I don't like even little bits of reaches. I want to find maybe the 5th round is going to be a great round. 3rd round was a really good round. It alternates. I didn't like 2nd round. I loved 3rd round. I'm not a huge fan of the 4th round. Um, I don't hate Jordan Whitehead here, but I feel like we should be doing a little better than this. So, little interesting side note. I looked. The Cowboys from that trade ended up getting 2 of those picks. They got both defensive backs. The other one that they got was very quickly, where is it? Carlton Davis. So, defensive backfield, they're deciding to hit on that quite a bit with that trade. With the 123rd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Tim Settle, defensive tackle, Virginia Tech. Um, this is once again defensive tackle who's fell a little bit too far. He should have been gone by now. I've got him at 106, so it's not. I mean, it's not a horrible fall, but it just again, whenever you see a defensive tackle, those are the ones that are going to be the good value. So at 106. He probably should have been gone earlier in the round. He's a good value, but he's just a better than normal value. The thing I don't necessarily like is the fit. I don't know that they necessarily need a defensive tackle, and if they get one, I don't know if Tim Settle is the best option. I believe he's more of a nose tackle, which the Saints, I believe, have a 4-3. Not to say nose tackles don't play in 4-3 defenses, they do, but just overall, it's just kind of a clunky kind of fit, in my opinion. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Saints fans would disagree. Maybe there's some contract stuff. Somebody's going to be gone. I'm not really sure how that all works out. But value is good. Fit is not my favorite. With the 124th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Brett and the 49ers select Marcel Aitman, wide receiver, Oklahoma State. So another great value. I think wide receivers maybe another one that I've seen that's been some phenomenal value. DJ Moore was a great pick. Marcel Aitman I have as like a 3rd round, kind of in the 80s. Let me see. I just did his profile yesterday, so the one interesting note, there's a Pro Football Focus thing I got on him, 3.52 yards per route one run, which is 2nd among all wide receivers in this 2018 NFL Draft. So I think he's a great value. That they also got who was it here? Trying to do a million things at once. Auden Tate in the second round, which I thought was a great value there too. They've got Derwin James at safety. Third round wasn't my favorite, getting Bo Scarborough and Marcus Allen. I don't remember exactly, but I think Marcus Allen was a reach. I know Bo Scarborough was a reach, even though I said I liked him. But this is a good pick here, and they're loaded up at wide receiver now for their young quarterback. Actually, I don't know how young is he. He's sitting on the bench for a while, but talented quarterback, and they got to make sure with that kind of investment that they don't look stupid. So they're loading up. Auden Tate and Marcel Aitman, I think, are good picks. I think you're good though, Brett. Just so we're clear going forward, I think you're good at wide receiver. With the 125th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Michael and the Jaguars select Troy Fumagalli, tight end, Wisconsin. So I think this is a good value. This is a good spot for him to go. Obviously, a big need for the Jaguars. Everybody wants them to go Mark Andrews in the first round and all this stuff. You have to do it. If you don't, you're an idiot, because people seem to forget. So many mock drafts or first round mock drafts, people seem to forget there's a second round, a third round, a fourth round. There's several rounds in these drafts. Um, but anyways, Troy Fumagalli here in the fourth round is awesome. I mentioned that Tony Pauline said Gesicki was a matchup nightmare similar to Ertz. He actually said that about two players. One was Gesicki, one was Fumagalli. Both of those guys gone in the fourth round. Both of them, I think, are good fits for their teams and good values. So a good pick here by Michael in the Jaguars. With the 126th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Michael and the Dolphins select Kiki Kuti, or whatever, wide receiver, Texas Tech. I think it's a reach. I got him at like 190, so we're talking like late fourth, maybe, or I'm sorry, late fifth, early sixth, so kind of that fifth, sixth kind of area. Dolphins need a ton of stuff, so I don't see any need to ever reach. So obviously, Michael sees this Kiki guy as a great value here. Not exactly sure why, but whatever. He likes him. So not my favorite pick, especially for a team, like I said, that needs a ton of stuff. Just grab value. Just grab the guy at the top of your board every time, and just hopefully over the next 2, 3, 4 years, we'll get this thing figured out. With the 127th pick, Keelan and the Eagles select Ken Webster, cornerback, Ole Miss. The Eagles, Super Bowl champions, have back-to-back picks here. I know it's a fourth round, but that's still pretty crazy and pretty awesome for them. In terms of Ken Webster, he's the second guy now that isn't even on my list. And this one's a little weird because I distinctly remember him being a lock in the first round for like a month. But even then it was weird. He was this top guy, but you couldn't find film on him anywhere. You couldn't find anybody really talking about him. And then he slowly fell into the second, then the third. Now he's just not anywhere. He is not on anybody's big board. And I'm talking about big boards with 200-300 guys. He's nowhere. So I'm assuming Keelan's looking at this and he's saying Ken Webster is a freakish cornerback. He's awesome. Have to take him. But I guess I don't even know what to call this. I don't know what to say. I mean, how is a guy with first round talent now? What am I supposed to say? He's going to go undrafted. So, okay, that'll work. With the 128th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Keelan and the Eagles select Oren Burks, linebacker, Vanderbilt. Now, this one I can be a little more sure about. He's ranked 328th-ish, something. I don't know. I just look at it and then I come back here and I say it and then I don't remember it. Just how great my memory is. 8 seconds and it's gone. 300 and something. But these are two in a row now that we're talking. Ken Webster isn't even on the list, and Oren Burks is undrafted guy. So I can't say that I like either of these Eagle picks. I can try to say I like the Ken Webster pick. The only news I could find on Ken Webster was the start of last year when they said he was suspended for shoplifting. So that plus a really gruesome, horrible injury. I just wonder if, the combine. People always say the biggest thing with the combine, it's not the 40, it's not any of this stuff, it's the medicals, and I kind of wonder if that's similar with Ken Webster. A lot of teams feel like something real bad with his knee because it was a horrible injury. It was like a complete dislocated knee or whatever. It was, it was one of those mutant things with his leg going completely sideways. So you wonder if maybe he gets cleared there. All of a sudden, we're hearing his name again. But Ken Webster and Oren Burks, in terms of big boards and in terms of everything I can tangibly look at, I can't say either of these are really great picks. But, who knows? I like Ken Webster more than Oren Burks. So we'll leave it at that. That is it. That is the end of round 4. Hopefully, in the next day or two, I will have round 5, then 6, then 7. Then I get to do my mock draft, and it is just a never ending stream of awesomeness. Again, be sure to check out NFLBigBoard.com. I got that thing updated every single day. I got new stuff. Yesterday, I got every single team done finally, so that I can just add news and notes. I don't have to build out the page, but there's new players getting added every single day with new stats, new info, new everything. So be sure to check back there regularly. I think maybe today I'm also going to, well, today is relative. Maybe I'll get this posted today or tomorrow, but the day in which I'm currently in, I'm going to try to update the actual big board itself and the list and see what kind of new names we got out there and what we can do with that. So, anyways, you folks have yourselves a phenomenal day. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.